Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Blue Sunday. My name is Joseph Luzza, coming to you from Bangkok, and coming to you from Melbourne is the one and only Carlton Life member, former president of the Carltonians, Vince Locissano. How are you, Vince?
G'day, Joe. That was close. I had a couple of issues just within a minute of going to air, and all of a sudden I've somehow managed to get back on thanks to Tanya.
You are useless. Anyway, Vince,
Yeah,
as
I
you
am.
know,
I'm
we
terrible.
have a special guest. We have a special guest waiting for us who is very short on time. So we're going to be very quick, do a few introductions, and then we'll get our special guest in. So as everyone knows, we are a Facebook, YouTube show. We rely on your shares and likes. So please, 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 on Facebook at Blue Sunday and even at the Jumper Punch. And we're coming to you at the Jumper Punch channel. Also, if you'd like to be involved in the show, we encourage you to send us comments. Please, no stupid questions. I'm not going to put up, hi, what are you doing? I'll leave that for the comments. But if you want to add some comments, if you don't agree with us, and when we have our special guest, if you'd like to ask him a question or two, please, please, please ask. Last but not least, this show is proudly sponsored by Retired Working for You Tours, my company. Anyone wishing to do anything in Thailand, tours, some hotel accommodation, flights, anything, please get me on the internet. I should put my email up. It's info@rw4utours.com. I will fix that next week. Vince, I'm being very quick because, as you know, our special guest has limited time. So please, how are you, Vince?
Mate, I'm great. I guess most Carlton supporters will be feeling pretty chilled out this weekend after not having had to endure another Carlton close finish. I think our last 6 matches have been resolved by less than 10 points every time. So it's been heart-stopping for most of us. But anyway, we've been able to sit back and watch all the others,
battle it out.
Battle it out, yeah.
Exactly. All right. So, guys, we have our special guest. Normally we have the one and only David Rhys-Jones. Hasn't hit either me or Vince yet, but I'm sure that's coming. And we decided to give him the week off because Carlton aren't playing. So instead,
that's right.
Mr. Locissano has managed to grab for us a very special guest, 1987 Premiership player, Mr. Ian Aitken. G'day, Ian. How are you tonight?
Going well, boys. Yourselves?
Yeah, very
G'day,
very,
Ian. How's things, mate?
Well.
Good, Vince.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know you've got people over for dinner as well tonight, so we really appreciate your time. And I'm not sure how your wife feels about you having to walk away for half an hour, but we'll try and get finished up by 8 o'clock so you can get back to them.
Thanks, mate. Good on you. I'll go back and have dessert after this.
That's it. Maybe before we move on, I just want to show the viewers a little bit about Ian. So, Ian, Are you still 6'3"?
Maybe shrinking slightly, but pretty much the same height.
91 kgs, or have you lost some weight or put some on?
I'm actually about that weight. I fluctuate between 92 and 89. Right. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. So your date of birth obviously hasn't changed. You spent the 1987 to 1992 at Carlton. Is that right? Because I read that you were a reserves premiership player in 1986.
Yeah, but that's his senior career. He would have started his first senior game in 87. Yeah.
Yeah. How long?
But you're right. In fact, do you remember what number you wore in the 1986 reserves premiership team, Ian? Do you remember?
43.
No, you're wrong. It was 53.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was too. That's right. I was thinking of Swanee Mackay, 53.
That's it. No, Swan Mackay was 43. And of course, your other mate, Mick Kennedy, ended up wearing 43 in the 1987 Premiership, funnily enough.
He certainly did. And Justin Madden, 44.
That's it.
So, Ian, you were player number 942 at Carlton. You played 66 games in total, 61 at Carlton. The other 5 were at?
The Saints.
There you go. One of the other ones. And
I think it was called the Carlton Superannuation Fund.
It was. I put that picture up during the week. And then you played in, obviously, the 1987 Premiership, but you also played in 2 reserve premierships, 1986 and 1990. So you had a pretty distinguished career, didn't you?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be, playing with some good players around us. So, 86, we had all the old blokes who were retiring, Buckley and Ashmans and all those sort of guys. So that 86 reserves team was just phenomenal.
Most of them had won a premiership in the seniors about 4 years earlier in 82. So you had a lot of experience in that 1986 premiership team, didn't you?
Oh, it was
the reserves premiership. Yeah.
And and then in 1990 it all changed. It was really younger guys playing reserves footy by then. There was no more sort of long retirements for the players. But 1990 was enjoyable too. I played with Glascott and others in that one, so that was good.
Yes,
so,
I remember that.
Fortunate to play in 3, and I played under 19s at Carlton as well, so that was good.
Oh, there you go.
Under Trev Keogh initially, and then Southby and Mackay as coaches.
That's right. Some legends there.
Now, for the kiddies at home, let's show a few. I've got a minute of highlights of you, Ian, so you can reminisce.
Kennedy, forward, a good punch away. On the end of it, Yates, a high ball. Didn't cover much distance. Mark taken by Aitken. Good play.
Hand out the centre half forward.
Carlton lead by 11 points. The kick in is taken by Aitken. He's got a few rough edges, this young guy, but he's pretty strong. He gets the hand.
Trapped it well at the second attempt. Goes long, Robbie Flower, well placed. Lob it in front. Aitken's played an excellent game.
Aitken, short kick out towards Alvin. Alvin's made.
Round the boundary line, but Alvin marks in the back pocket for the Blues. Support Shine. Across the face of goal to Aitken, who's among Carlton's best. He's played excellently. And a mile in the clear is nailing. 40 metres in the clear.
To Giles. Centre half forward. Aitken. Oh, good play, Aitken. Scoop.
He goes out towards the wing. Kernahan's there. Of course, Langford is his marksman. But the mark taken by Aitken in front. He breaks away and pops it out to open spaces. Molly Meldrum running onto it. Dip in a quarter minutes. Ayres towards the outer side. Dipper and Meldrum both nudged out of it. Aitken on the ground. Great play. 70 metres out from goal. Chris Langford from half-back flank. Up towards centre wing. Dorotich and Brereton having a bit of a wrestle, allowing Aitken to go over the top and drag down a beauty.
Playing well, the young fellow. He's only played 6 or 7 games.
So there you go, Ian. You look pretty classy there, both sides. Overhead mark, kick left foot, right foot.
It surprised me. I'm actually playing quick footy. These days they want you to move the ball quickly, and I think I was doing it then. So I was surprised how quickly I was moving it on, mate.
Well, it was amazing. What a great debut as well. Like, you would have only been 19 odd years of age, I think, when you first started playing in '87 senior football, and turned 20 that year. And by the end of that 1987 year, I think you were the best first year player, and you had a premiership medal around your neck.
Yeah, life was going pretty well at that stage.
So, Ian, what were your thoughts? How old were you when you got drafted to Carlton? I know you were in the reserves and under 19s. How old were you?
Back then, you didn't get drafted. It was back in the zoning days.
Okay, so how old were you when you first walked in?
I was in year 11. So I was 16, went down to Carlton under 19s, and then played 2 years there in the 19s, and then they were going to Japan to play in the Aussie Bowl in 1986 at the start of '86, and so I was up in Queensland with a mate just doing a road trip, and someone pulled out, so they called me, and I was on Great Keppel Island having a few beers, and all of a sudden I got after the call, I chucked my beer away, I started doing sit-ups and push-ups and go. got to get back to Melbourne. I've got to go to Japan. So yeah, it was good.
That would have been a bit of a junket, though, wouldn't it, Ian? I mean, really, that wouldn't have been too serious, would it? Just a bit of an exhibition game.
There's lots and lots of stories about the Japan trip. You know, from Wolsey cracking it with different players and things happening at the hotel and all sorts of stuff. It was certainly an eye opener for me.
So Ian, 16 years old, you walk into like a pretty big club. Were you a Carlton supporter?
No, I bagged for the Bombers.
Okay, so you've walked in. There was probably some big names around you at that time. What was the thoughts going through your head?
Well, just going to 19s, it was just exciting to be asked down. But, you know, the real first time was really daunting was when you got asked to train with the senior group. But, you know, my kicking probably wasn't, you know, the best asset I had at that point in time. And I missed a few targets at training with the senior players, and Wolsey called us all in, and don't know why he was calling us in. And he looked at me and said, you know, young fellow, if you're going to kick like that and maybe do Dooley's hammies, you can piss off back to the 19s, you know. So, you felt like 2 inches tall, and you know, then they all run out to continue the drill. But yeah, so you're training with people like Dooley and others, and you just like it was eye opening at that point in time.
Oh, okay. And are there any other than Ian, Mr. Walls being a bit of a you know what? And did they all sort of welcome you in, or did they say to you, "Don't worry about him, he's always grumpy"? Or
well, look, when he gave that bit of a tirade to me about my kicking and looking after Dooley's hammies, everyone sort of, you know, jogs out and pats you on the back, going, you know, don't worry about it, son, blah blah blah. But you know, then after that season, I'd finished 19s. I got asked to train with the senior group over pre-season, and you know, we're on number 1 oval outside of Princess Park because the cricket was still at you know, Princess Park back then. And you do training, and I was really fit and you know, competitive, and so you're doing drills pre-season, and you know, Buckley turns around and mumbles at me. He goes, "Young fellow, if you keep that up, I'm going to belt you." You know, I don't think anything different, you know, so I just keep doing it, and then he belts me. So in some ways they were welcoming, but you know, really you don't. They didn't want you to make them look too slow or too old or whatever at that point in time.
They didn't want you to throw them under the bus by being too impressive, right?
So they're trying to cut you down a bit, you know.
Chop you down the side.
Now, Ian, one thing that you are infamous for, and I'm getting lots of comments, the Battle of Britain. Okay, before I show any footage, I don't know if you want me to or not. Tell me.
I mean, it's on YouTube, so it doesn't matter. You know, people can look it up anytime they want.
Tell me, because I've spoken to other players who went on it, and they thought of it as a bit of a holiday, right?
Yep.
But obviously, the North didn't. So, what were your recollections of like before going, and then the actual game and after the game?
Well, I mean, you know, it was exciting to go, but you know, we'd already won the flag, and we were, you know, had a fairly solid week of entertaining ourselves around Melbourne, and so you know, then it's exciting to go. Obviously, it seemed different for North Melbourne in hindsight because you know, they were told that look, they went out in straight sets that year. I mean, we beat them by 4 points in the final round, and that changed the ladder position. And then North went out in straight sets, and we go to London, and you know, we're just sort of out on the town a bit before we played. And
they wanted to make a bit of a statement, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, you know, retrospectively, you hear that Kanga Kennedy had said to him, "A lot of your careers are on the line." So, you know, we went out there. We were hoping just to get through the game and, you know, show a bit of a spectacle to the Londoners. But, Donald McDonald was playing on Rhys-Jones, and he belted Rhys, and then Rhys belted him back, and Wolsey goes, "I need to settle this down and separate those two." So he put me on Donald McDonald. We're running down the wing. He swings at me, and I pull back, and he misses me. I go to swing at him, and then Clarkson comes in and King hits me. So after that, I woke up in the rooms and they said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm at the MCG." So, but yeah, after I saw the vision for the next 2 quarters, and it was pretty brutal what happened after that.
Yeah. I've been asked.
I don't think Robert Walls was too much of a fan of that junket that year. He thought it was an unnecessary distraction, and we'd just won the flag, and within 2 or 3 weeks we're in London getting ourselves belted up by an opposition team who wanted to make a statement. He saw it as a pointless exercise, didn't he?
He did. I mean, but the club was sort of run at that stage by Big Jack Elliott, and he had Foster's to promote. So what can
exactly.
you do?
Look,
yeah,
I do have vision, but I don't really want to show it.
No, come on, Joe. Let's have a look at it. Come on, quickly.
All right.
Put it up.
All right.
Go on.
I've only done 10 seconds without commentary.
That's all right. Oof. Good to see Jono going in straight after him within a couple of seconds of Clarkson hitting you.
That was Gleeson.
Gleeson, yeah. Yeah, and I think Wayne Johnson might have been in there too.
Have you forgiven Alistair, or have you spoken to him about it?
There was a lot of animosity, for a number of years, but just in the last couple of years, I reached out through Stephen Kerr, who's Vivian Kerr was the #1 ticket holder and all that, and Laurie was a legend at the place as well, and his family's heavily involved, Peter and everyone else. But we reached out through him, and then the CEO of Hawthorn at the time, and met up and talked about it. And it's actually, he's done a couple of talks at different clubs that I coach at. So So you buried the hatchet now. Well, yeah. I mean, it's as they say, it actually lifts the weight off your shoulders, and you can carry this around. But it's probably better to.
Doesn't reverse the incident. Oh, I can tell you, I hate the bloke. Even from that day on, I can't stand him. When I heard he was going to coach Carlton, I thought, I'm going to have to give up my membership. I don't like him. Can't stand him.
Yeah, well, a lot of people of our era think the same thing. I mean, my mum, who's still alive, hates him, and other people and this and that, and that just sort of magnified my sort of feelings, etc. But do you feel that incident changed how you played thereafter? Like, do you feel that it had an effect on the way you went about playing your football, or were you not affected at all? Look, it's really hard to qualify. I mean, I had some injuries in the following years, so whether you play slightly differently, I mean, it's like saying, what's happening with Collingwood right now? They think they've trained the same, and but are they quite as hungry? And if you don't get all the little things right, they add up to a big thing, and that could be. Did I train as hard? Did I? Did the injuries hold me back as well? It's hard to say. I mean, same with Barman, Southby. Was Southby the same player? That sort of stuff. It's hard. It's hard to tell whether that was the main catalyst for that.
Okay. There was another bloke that came across in 1986 from Western Australia called John Dorotich, who, when he first came over, he used to, take marks in front of packs of players and, do all sorts of courageous things. But then he kept getting hit on the head all the time, and to the point where I think after a while he probably avoided that sort of risk in future years. It sort of affected his confidence a little bit when he kept getting hit.
Right. Well,
did you see that?
Well, no, hard to say. I mean, playing next to him, it was, I know that him and Wolsey had a few run-ins and that, and Wolsey used to play me off against him in '87, and say that he'll take you,
he'll take your spot.
Yeah. So John was he was built like Radaglia. He was a big, strong guy. and Don was really dominating. But also with that, you think, well, because you're built like that, you've got to do all this sort of tough man stuff. And whether that was completely in his nature, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
hey, Ian,
good point.
We know a lot about concussion, like today. It's very talked about and side effects. Well, after that hit, did you suffer like headaches or any side effects that you thought, hey, this isn't normal for a period of time?
Look, I've probably been concussed 5 or 6 times throughout my career. And the ones that you really think that's a concussion rather than just being dazed and going back on, which you could have been concussed in those situations as well. But back then you just went, you kept playing. I got hit in the jaw and broke my jaw playing against in '87 against Brereton, and I blanked out while the ball's in the air and sort of, came to and took the mark. And after the game, they realised that I kept playing, and then they realised I had a broken jaw after the game. So, that was obviously a slight concussion as well as a broken jaw. It's too hard to say whether, like you may have had 2 weeks of headaches or this and that, but then you didn't really equate it to a long-term concussion. Like today, they talk about long concussion and all this and delayed symptoms and people, I mean, if the light's a bit bright or this and that, we just sort of got on with it and knew, how you feeling? I'm okay. So you'd play the next week, or you'd go out and play the same game. But now, I mean, with CTE, etc., look, whether you get older and grumpy and the mood swings and all that sort of stuff, but you don't know whether it's what's causing it, whether it's just you becoming old and it's natural, or it's something that's degenerative in your brain. You don't know.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
There's no way.
Ian, before we talk about your views on Carlton and how they're going this year, just wanted to quickly take you back to your career since playing. Now, you've been a very, very successful coach in your own right. Can you give us a brief summary of what your coaching career has been like since you stopped playing? And you're still coaching now, I believe.
Yeah, well, if you want it to be brief, then that's going to be a struggle because I've coached over 1,000. I've coached over 1,000 games of footy.
Just in a nutshell, like where have you been and how many premierships at each one, etc. Because it's quite an extensive list, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've won like 14 senior premierships and 12 junior premierships. I've coached at schools, coached in the country, coached Metro, all different age groups from juniors from under-8s up to under-17s. I've coached senior footy for a number of years. Some years I've coached 4 teams, other years 3 teams in the one season.
Wow! How do you do that?
So the last,
what would be the most? What would be the one that's regarded as your greatest premiership at the highest level?
Well, I mean, I was playing coach in 1998 at Strathmore Footy Club, where I played my juniors, and so that was A grade Essendon District, but and playing coaching was great. It was just a great feeling and all that. Then but then I coached 3 premierships in a row at Q in the amateurs, which you go up grades in the amateurs. So we went up from D3 to D2 to D1 to C grade. So only the third person to do that behind Luke Beveridge at St Bede's and then someone else in the 60s, so that was thrilling. And on that same day in 2013, when we won our first one, I also coached the under-18 premiership at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then the seniors at 2 o'clock.
2 premierships in one day.
And 2 weeks before that, I coached my son's under-14 team to a premiership in the junior footy. So, a few weeks out in like July, I'm thinking which one would I prefer to win out of these 3, and ended up winning all 3 of them. So that was exciting.
Unbelievable! I don't know where you went that night. Which celebration did you go to? Because there were 3 of them you're meant to be at.
Well, the under-14 one was 2 weeks prior, and that was to McDonald's because they could only have thick shakes. And then the senior and under 18 won. Our reserves won the flag that day as well. So we won all 3 flags. And that was a good night at the footy club.
Fantastic.
No aspirations to do AFL coaching?
Oh, look, that horse bolted a number of years ago. I had children young. So at that point, if you went down to a under 18 TAC club or whatever, Oakley Chargers, Calder Cannons, etc., you got paid peanuts to do lots of hours. And so I wasn't prepared to do that because I had young family, had to make a decent wage to pay for things and etc.
Yeah, of course.
So I was just doing it on the side and getting paid okay for a local coach. And so once you're out of that system, but I did spend 2 years at Northern Blues, Carlton's VFL stuff, coaching the development side, and that was great fun. But then the development league got canned because of AFLW was coming in, so they were investing more in that than reserves.
Than the reserve.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, mate,
Okay.
Have you had a good look at the couple of games that we've played so far this year?
I've been able to watch, most of the 2 games, because I've got other commitments with footy coaching and other things. But
what are your general feelings and thoughts about how we've started off the year?
I don't think any Carlton supporter would have thought we're any chance when we're 46 points down against Brisbane. And to chip away and then come back in that third quarter like we did was just extraordinary and showed great character from the group and the coaching staff. So that was just thrilling for everybody to get over the line and do that. And then to come up against Richmond once they had some big inclusions like Nankervis and Dusty, etc. And to get across the line in a close one, they're the ones you need to build a base early in the year to get those points and put them in your back pocket. So it's exciting for everyone who's a blue bagger because you got the 2 key forwards, which are as good as any 2 key forwards in the comp as a combination. Harry's starting to kick straight, which is nice, and that always helps. And our midfield's super strong with good depth. Once we can get Wiedering and Walsh back, then that's going to be very exciting too.
What about Jack Martin in the forward line? Do you think he'd be a good addition too?
Oh, well, he's a super player, as we saw last year in the finals. So, he's very talented and got some real tricks. Having him back. So there's a lot of upside for the club.
Joe?
Can you see any weaknesses in the team, Ian, that you think may be a problem? See, I think our ruck is a problem, but TDK's sort of done okay the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, I was going to say that we need probably need a ruck who's, TDK, another year or 2, he could be great because, like Tim English took a number of years. He got mauled by Grundy a couple of years ago, when Grundy was at Collingwood and he got his pants pulled down at back then Etihad Stadium. And you thought, how's this, young fella ever going to play ruck? And now he's one of the better rucks in the game. So as a ruck, it takes you to about 23 or something to really mature and get that few pre-seasons under your belt. It'd be handy having a bigger, stronger ruck. But I think with the midfield we've got, they're going to be able to make up for any failings in that area.
Apart from the ruck, one of the other areas I think could be a bit of a weakness for us is just general leg speed. Well, I don't see us being a very quick side, and I don't know that we've really addressed that issue in the off-season with our recruiting and trading. What about that side of things? Do you think a really fast-paced unit might be a bit of a problem for us, a bit of a handful?
Yeah, some people look at the 2 Sydney sides. They're just moving the ball beautifully, and they've got some elite kicks and line-breaking players. Having speed is one of the greatest assets you can have. Having one or two more players with great speed, but if you've got a good structure and people, if you're playing at 90% and you've got a few niggles and that sort of stuff, it can cost you, because if you're not playing at if you can't run at top speed for long periods of a game, but if you've got, if you haven't got a super quick team, as long as you're not knocked about too much, you can run at your high speed, which throughout the game. Then, as long as you get your positioning right, it's okay. So
obviously, Michael Voss has got them playing a very hard contested ball type game plan. That's where we pride ourselves, isn't it? In the contested ball and contested possessions around the ground. We're a very tough side. Do you think that's the sort of brand of football that's going to take us to the Holy Grail, or do we need to add some layers to the way we play?
Just watching them at this point in time, I think if they can sustain their list. Look, I don't think they've got great depth. So if they get a couple of injuries, then I'm not sure they got the replacements to come in to cover those. Whether it's a peripheral player who's your 18th best player or 16th best player, I'm still not sure they got the depth to come in and do all that. But if they can have some fortune with injury and play that ballistic sort of battering type of game, their structures seem good and they've got self-belief. So then they're a good chance to make top four.
And
sorry, go on, Joe.
Sorry for interrupting while you were talking.
No, sorry, no. Go for you.
That's all right. Hey, and you were a key defender. So my issue is that I don't think, with Wiedering out, I don't think that Lewis, Young and Kemp are really strong enough. What are your thoughts about Young and Kemp?
Well, look, who would have thought in '87 that I was going to be able to come in after round 2 or 3, whatever it was, and hold my spot and all that sort of stuff. So, if you put some faith into a young guy, give him opportunity, and they get a bit of self-belief and support from the coach, then, you can be an outlier and, be on a bit of a mission that year. And, and if you can bring someone like that in, and they're going well, and Wiedering comes back, and you don't drop that person, then that just adds depth and quality to your, to the tall backs. So who would have thought that I'd come in, and then I had Dorotich and Silvani and Rhys-Jones and that sort of stuff down there, but there was
Peter
people,
Dean.
Peter Dean, Tom Elvin, Mick Kennedy, etc. But look, there's people, when you talk about it a few years later, they go, I couldn't get in that side. At that point I was just blinkers on, playing my footy, all that sort of stuff. But they're all fighting for jostling for spots and all this. But I wasn't in a sense, I was oblivious to that. I didn't seem to be jostling for a spot. I was just playing, and obviously I was getting ticks from the coaching staff, and they were happy with what I was doing. So then that adds depth to your list. So you need a few of those blokes like Young and Kemp to come up and have some faith and add some layers to it.
Vince,
Indeed.
I think we've taken up enough of Ian's time. We don't want him to get into too much trouble with his
dessert's getting cold.
The dessert's getting hot. The ice cream's melting, mate.
Is that what it is?
I've been getting a few comments in the comment box. One last question before you go. A lot of people have asked Ian what it was like playing with Bruce Doull, and did he talk to you?
Well, actually, I actually didn't play a senior game of footy with him.
No.
But look, he came to the Life Members Lunch, which Vince and I went to a couple of weeks ago at the Kew Golf Course, and that's always a good day. The club, put on a great function, and Dooley was there because he got hassled by his wife and his teammates, back then, Curly Austin and Swanee and Southby, etc. their wives were good friends with Dooley's wife, so they hassled him to come along, and he had a great time. And
they grabbed him by the headband and dragged him there.
Yeah, that's it. I actually didn't talk to him, but because I'm probably still in awe of him and that sort of stuff. But I think everyone was just rapt to see him there, and
absolutely,
the way he played his footy was just extraordinary. So one of the greatest players to pull on the navy blue.
So you obviously you're a Carlton supporter now. You don't follow that horrible team that Vince's partner follows, Essendon.
No. I loved Tim Watson when I was back in Fressity in 83, 84, that sort of stuff, since I was a kid and all the way up. And then when he tackled me and I got done for holding the ball at Waverley and he kicked a goal on me, that fantasy was squashed.
You fell out of love with him straight away.
Yeah, fell out of love with him and the Bombers, So
that's right.
I'm a blue boy, mate. Yep.
And on behalf of all of us here at Blue Sunday, the Jumper Punch, thank you very much for taking some time to talk to us. We know you've got dinner guests, so we'll let you go. So we hope to get you on one day when you don't have any guests, and we'll get you on with Reese, and you can have a bit of a battle with him if you still talk to him.
Mate. Good to chat, guys, and good to see you.
All right.
Good on you, Ian. Thanks again, mate.
Ta-da.
Cheers.
Well, there you go. Thanks for getting that, Vince. We had a few technical problems at the start, but
we got over those pretty quickly. Yeah. I think you had a message too from Gina, didn't you?
She
loved one of hers.
So Gina's, I think it's her brother Don, is suffering from cancer, and actually, to be honest, Gina's not 100% either. So from everyone,
wish them both all the best for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, wish them all the best. Gina's one of our favourites. So if it's her brother, I'm sure he'd be one of our favourites too. So Gina, we're all thinking about you.
Keep punching.
Keep up the fight. Yeah,
that's it.
Vince, we can't talk about a Carlton win or a Carlton loss or anything like that. But all we can do is put up next week's game.
Yes.
Now,
prediction time.
Correct me. I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Easter next week?
It is. And this game is on Good Friday, the 29th of March at Marvel Stadium. And as per usual, you make mistakes on every show. And there's the first one I've noticed. It's at 4:20 p.m., not 3:20 p.m.
Well, then I want you to correct. I got it off the AFL website. So
I think you'll find that that's wrong. Either they're wrong or you're wrong, one or the other. Anyway, it's 4:20 p.m. on Good Friday afternoon. And I think it's a sellout. It was last year, and I think there's no reason why it won't be this year.
You're actually right, but I did notice before, because I'm 4 hours behind you guys, and that on the AFL website it had 11:20 p.m. It had 11:20 a.m. Sorry, so now they've just changed it. So anyway, yes, it's at 4:20. So Vince,
yes, 4:20.
It's Good Friday? Is there something associated with the Good Friday appeal, or is it just because it's a Good Friday?
I think there is a fundraising effort from this game. Exactly what it is, I can't say, but I do believe that they're raising money in some way, shape, or form for the Royal Children's Hospital. Of course, it has been a long-standing tradition now on Good Friday that we've had the big Good Friday appeal for the Royal Children's Hospital, and that raises millions of dollars every year for the hospital. And I think this game, seeing the two teams, I think it makes a lot of sense seeing North Melbourne and Carlton are based either side of the hospital, actually. I mean, North Melbourne's not that far away in Arden Street, and Carlton around the corner in Royal Parade, and of course the Royal Children's Hospital's on Flemington Road there in Parkville. So, yeah, basically in the middle of the two clubs. So it's very appropriate that these two teams play this game, and I think it'll be a good contest for a portion of it, but I do believe Carlton will pull right away, and I'm predicting a big win for us.
You want me to go first?
You have to go first, yes.
You think I cheat. So I'm going to
No.
say Carlton by 42 points.
42 points. Okay.
Vince,
Well,
Carlton,
I'm predicting Carlton by 10 goals.
60 points.
So
and did
60.
We know Rhys will go for Carlton.
Yeah, he's gone for Carlton. Yeah, 8 goals.
48 points. Okay. My pen's just about to run out, so that's okay. So
2 goals a quarter.
Obviously, that's going to mean no change to the tipping ladder, right?
No.
Because
it'll either be 3-2-2 or it'll remain 2-1-1.
Yeah,
we've all gone for Carlton. That's pretty understandable, but hopefully it is a good contest. I mean, I don't mind having some opponents giving us a red hot go for our money, and it'll make for a more entertaining game. But we also want to see some of our players get right into form. And if we have a big win, let's see some players really hit top form. That'd be really good going into the following week, which is Gather Round in Adelaide, of course, where we play Fremantle on a Saturday afternoon at around about the same time. I think it's 4:20 on the Saturday afternoon.
Vince, I take a contrarian view. I don't want to see a close game. I want to see us murder them. I want to see us bury them into the ground.
Especially after having Ian Aitken on, we want Clarkson to suffer, don't we?
I want the Roman Emperor to go.
Okay.
I don't want to see him live.
After seeing that footage of Alistair Clarkson hitting Ian Aitken and breaking his jaw, we want to see North Melbourne get flogged by over 100 points, do we?
I've got to be honest. That I don't care whether it was 20 years ago, 20 minutes ago, or 200 years ago. That is a thug's act. To hit someone from behind, it's just it's just gutless. And
he went and hid behind the post. You know that? He knew that they were coming after him. He was hiding behind the goal umpire.
Yeah, he's gutless prick. Gutless.
It was over 36 year ago now. It's about 36 and a half years ago, roughly.
Seriously, if someone said to me he was coming to coach Carlton, I wouldn't go watch him. I hate that guy that much. I just can't stand him. Anyway,
I wasn't a fan of him after he put about 17 players on Brendan Favola when he was on 99 goals in 2008. But anyway, he basically prevented a very unique moment in history. But then again,
it's all about Alistair. That's all it is. He's just anyway.
All right.
Vince, this is round 2, and we've had some games, so let's quickly go through them.
Correct.
Thursday night.
All right. Well, wasn't it a sight for sore eyes for Carlton supporters to see Collingwood stoop to 3 losses in a row since they won that premiership last year? And I know Rocco thinks that they might go down in history as the worst premiership team in history. Anyway, St Kilda had the better of them, 14-10-94. A very impressive display. And I think Craig McRae got out coached by Ross Lyon that night, that's for sure. 12 goals, 779 Collingwood, and looking down the barrel at possibly a 0-4 start because they've got to head up to Brisbane on Thursday night and play Brisbane in Brisbane. So that'll be a huge challenge for them again.
Okay, on Friday night we had...
Can you believe that? A rematch of the 2 grand finalists, and neither one of them has had a win.
Good.
Anyway, next game was on Friday night. And this, of course, was the battle between Adelaide Crows and Geelong over there in Adelaide. And Geelong, they know how to win, don't they? And I don't think Adelaide have discovered how to win just yet. They show a lot of promise, but in games like this, they just seem to fall short. 14-12-96 to Adelaide, 11-11-77. A good start to the year for Geelong, 2-0. Adelaide, 0-2.
Good. Saturday?
Then we saw the Dockers come over here. They've had a very impressive start to the year, haven't they? 15-12-102, defeating North Melbourne, 11-10-76 after North Melbourne led Fremantle by up to 33 points in that second quarter. Then Fremantle went on a run of 9 uninterrupted goals in that late second and early and all of third quarter, and turned the whole match on its head.
Okay, and
then of course yesterday we had a very impressive display by Melbourne, 14-9-93, defeating a very listless Hawthorn, 5-8-38. They must be in a bit of trouble there with a result like that. And then, of course, at night we saw the Sydney Swans back at home getting the better of Essendon, 19-17, 131 to Essendon, 15-11, 101. That's a 5-goal victory, and could have even been more if it wasn't for some inaccurate kicking. But, yeah, the Sydney Swans, what a great start to the year. They've had 3 and zip and at the top of the ladder.
Okay, and then today?
And then today we saw the Western Bulldogs turn around last week's poor result and defeat the previously unbeaten Gold Coast Suns. 18-7, 115, good kicking for goal, defeating the Suns 10 goals, 67, and the Damien Hardwick bubble has burst.
And then just the last game that was completed was Richmond.
Yes,
Port.
this afternoon at the MCG. Richmond again. This is 0-3 for them now. They've had 3 losses in a row. 13-14-92, defeated by Port Adelaide in Travis Boak's 350th game. He's been a real warrior for them. 18-14, 122, and a good 2-0 start for the Port Adelaide Power.
And in the game that's currently on, it's half-time and it's GWS 8-8-56 to Eagles 2-5-17.
Yeah, you would think that GWS will win that game comfortably. They're already, 39 points in front. So, and it's only half-time. So, look, we can't see GWS being beaten. So, you would think after that the ladder would see Sydney and GWS both on top of the ladder with 3 wins and 12 points.
You say that. There you go.
At the moment, they're on 8, but once that game's completed, they will move up to 3 wins and 12 points, GWS. And they will, in fact, go to the top of the ladder because their percentage is even better than Sydney's. So you'll see GWS on top, Sydney second, both on 12. Then a string of teams on 2 wins, including Port Adelaide, Melbourne, Fremantle, Geelong, Carlton, and Gold Coast. And Melbourne and Gold Coast have played 3 games, so they've had the 1 loss each, apart from the 2 wins. Then outside the 8, you've got teams on 4 points, including St Kilda, Western Bulldogs, and Essendon. And there's a string of teams that have not had a win yet after either 2 or 3 matches. And that's it: Brisbane, Adelaide, Richmond, Collingwood, North Melbourne, Hawthorn, and West Coast. That's a lot of teams who haven't had a win after at least 2, if not 3 games. And the best one there is Collingwood, having lost the first 3 matches, and to a similar extent, Richmond. 2 big Victorian clubs, 2 of our biggest rivals, and they both started off with 0-3.
Beautiful. Now, I put something up by accident, but it's time for... It's time for Vince's... Whoops.
I'll have to get my auctioneer's gavel.
Next weekend, yeah. So it's time for Vince's verdict. And this week, who are you taking a pot shot at?
Well, my verdict this week is that goal umpires are the new clowns of the AFL. I mean, seriously, they have lost the art of making a decision. I mean, before we had all this technology, they had to make a decision, and they were good at it. And I'd say, by and large, in 99% of cases, they made the right decisions, whether it was a goal or a point or touched on the line or not touched on the line. All because of one instance that happened in a grand final, I think back about 15 years ago. I think Geelong got a goal given to them which actually hit the post. I think it might have been Tom Hawkins whose kick for goal scraped the post, I think, at the time. So everyone panicked and thought, gee, that's happened in a grand final, and in such a close game, it could have affected the result. And maybe it did. But I think we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater with all this technology. Now they just refuse to make decisions at all. We're having that many score reviews. The game is being held up that often because goal umpires have been spooked. And I can't help but think that incident at the Adelaide Oval late last year, where a goal umpire's decision to award a point rather than a goal, when a ball clearly went through, but he thought it had hit the post. And he didn't even call for the score review in that situation. Nor did the other umpires call for a score review, the field umpires, which was a mistake on their behalf. Now, goal umpires seem to have been spooked by that whole incident there, and they just seem to refuse to make any basic decisions anymore.
Well, I think you'll find, Vince, I'm not being, I'll be the devil's advocate. I think you'll find that they've been instructed by the AFL operations officer, I don't know her, I can't remember her name, that that they need to be doubly sure. She doesn't want to see any mistakes. So I can understand your point and I can understand their point, but I agree. Like, you know, I watched one yesterday that clearly went through and the guy goes, well, I don't know if it hit the post. Well, mate, you're standing right there. If you don't know it hit the post, then anyway, you need to go to Specsavers. Vince?
Well, I just think that they're paid pretty good money to, you're thinking of Laura Kane. I think that's who you're referring to.
Yeah, Laura Kane.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know if you can say for sure that she's the one instructing them, but I know it's important to make the right decision. Don't get me wrong. It is important. But some absolutely basic stuff. It's just they're checking on every possibility of anything having... I saw one today, I think it was the Western Bulldogs and Gold Coast game, where a player went for a snap for goal, and the Gold Coast player's hands were nowhere near the ball. And yet the goal umpire said, look, I think it's a goal, but just check the vision to see that it wasn't touched off the boot. I mean, really? That should... I mean, starters, the Gold Coast player never even said, hey, I touched that. So there was no claim to have touched the ball by any of the opposition. The field umpire didn't call for it. And yet the goal umpire is calling for it. It's a joke. It's really affecting the enjoyment of the game for a lot of spectators.
The other thing, Vince, is invest in the technology. The technology that they've got now is terrible, right?
That's the other thing. The technology is terrible.
You want correct decisions, I get it, right? The AFL make $1 billion out of this TV rights, invest, but they don't, right? Instead, they want to pay their CEO and all this huge money. So anyway, hang on. Someone says they can't make a decision to save themselves these days.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's true, Lala.
Vince,
yep, very true.
Time for your bet of the week. Last week,
how did we go last week?
You only got one leg.
What did we get right and what did we get wrong? I know we got Collingwood wrong. I thought after the first leg we'd gone already because we went to Collingwood at the line and St Kilda beat them. So it was already, the bet was already over after the first leg. But we did well with Geelong because we said Geelong at the line and they ended up winning, even though we had 13.5 points in reserve. North at the line, well, that was wrong. Essendon at the line was wrong. And Richmond at the line was wrong. So we got it all wrong there. We're going to have one more go at this. We're going to have one more go at this, Joe.
Okay, so this week...
We're going to go for another 5 different games. I thought seeing this round was going to be split up over 5 different days, that we would have one leg per day. So that means the Brisbane-Collingwood game on the Thursday night. We're going for Brisbane at the line. So that's... now that means that all of these bets, because they're all negative amounts of points, that means that they have to win by more than that to get the $1.90. So Brisbane are favourites. They have to win by 17 points or more to get the $1.90, okay? Yeah. Then on the Friday, of course, Good Friday, Carlton, North Melbourne. We're going for the Blues at the line. That means we have to win by a minimum of 37 points, Joe.
Easy.
Okay. Then Port Adelaide on the Saturday. That's on the Saturday night against Melbourne. Now, I think with Stephen May having gone down injured, and I think even Jake Lever's injured as well, that's going to really weaken Melbourne's defence. So I'm punting that Port at home against a weakened Melbourne defence will get over the line by more than 14.5 points. So they need to win by 15 or more for us to get the $1.90 there. Sydney and Richmond. Now this is at the MCG. So when you do these, can you put the home teams in the right order?
Oh,
so it should be Richmond versus Sydney.
Because the screen's only so. I've told you this before. The screen's only yay big. I can only put this up. Let me try.
No, I'm not saying to make it bigger. I'm just saying instead of putting Sydney versus Richmond, just put Richmond versus Sydney, so that we know who the home team is.
Okay.
So fourth leg, Richmond versus Sydney, and we're going for Swans at the line. So that's to win by at least 18 points at the MCG. Okay? And then the last leg is Geelong and Hawthorn at the MCG. Again, that's a Hawthorn home game, but never mind. It sort of doesn't matter really. The Cats we're going for at the line here, so they have to win by a minimum of 21 points over Hawthorn. So I reckon we're a big chance to pull this one off. I'd be surprised if any of these don't come off.
I have famous last words.
But the one I'm worried about most is the one up the top.
Really?
You know, I've gone for Collingwood a couple of times this year, and they've let me down. So I'm not going to go for them a third week in a row. I'm going to go for Brisbane. But I do think Collingwood's going to come out breathing fire this Thursday night. Their season is literally on the line. If they lose that, they go to 0-4. They'll be struggling to even make the finals, let alone top four. Anyway, that bet for $10 is at $24.76 for one. So we'll win $247.60 if it comes off, Joe.
So let's see where you are at the moment. We started with $100. You've had 2 losses. We're down to $80.
Yep.
But next week we'll be over 300, won't we?
We hope so. Be over 350 if we get our money back.
Remember, as Gina has rightly said, I work at the TAB. Gamble responsibly, right? So my view is put $1,000 on it.
Go hard or go home.
Can't lose, Vince says. Can't lose.
That's it. So what do we got?
Vince is so confident that he's willing to accept losing tickets and pay them out.
Thanks, Joe. What do we got coming up this week?
Hey?
What do we got coming up this week, the week before Easter hits?
The shows. I decided to make it. So, Tuesday night, we have The Jumper Punch on the Blue Abroad channel, 7 p.m. with Vince, Paolo and Rocco. Wednesday,
no, not with Vince, Paolo and Rocco. It's Mars, Paolo and Rocco.
Mars, Paolo and Rocco. Sorry. On Wednesday, I'm trying to look at the score. On Wednesday, we have at midday, Rockin' the Burbs with Rocco, Paolo, and Mars. I think Paolo was interviewing in Northlands at Schnitz, if memory serves me correct. So keep a watch out for that. Followed by, if I don't mention it, they're all on the Jumper Punch channel. Only the actual show, the Jumper Punch, is on Blue Abroad. Then on Wednesday night, we've got the boys discussing Forever Rivals. So we've got Richmond, Essendon, Carlton, and Collingwood. The boys are at each other's.
Let me tell you, I think Rocco will be ripping into the Collingwood and Richmond boys, especially this week, and maybe even the Essendon representative Mark. He'll probably cop it this week too, seeing they lost.
He'll probably cop it. I think Manny will cop it. Rocco loves giving it to Manny. Mm-hmm. On Thursday at 5:30, we've got the Change Room with Rash and his mate Sam. Very good show if you want to talk about the mental aspects of sport. On Friday at midday, we have Rocco's son doing double-double, which is predominantly basketball, but they will be talking about some football as well. And then, as usual, we save the best till last. Blue Sunday, Sunday night, 7:30. We're okay for next Sunday, even though it's Easter. there'll be a game
Yeah,
on Mr. Monday.
I'm fine with Sunday night. Yeah, it's up to you if you want to do it on the Monday after the Essendon Hawthorn game. I don't mind. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to do it on the Sunday night. But we'll make a decision during the week. Watch out for the notifications. We'll let you know. But at this stage, it's still on Sunday night.
Yeah, but we might do it to the Monday because I might be away on Sunday and a beautiful tropical island called Koh.
Oh, really? You're taking a tour group around Thailand somewhere?
I'm taking them away on Thursday to this little island. It's called Koh Samet. It's very tranquil, very, very primitive. In fact, there's not any high-rise hotels on there. The highest hotel is 2 floors. And
there you go, viewers. Or you can enjoy a trip. You can enjoy a tour like this too. All you got to do is contact Retired Working for You Tours.
That's it. I'll post some pictures for you next week of the beautiful beach and my breakfast setting. So guys, that's it for the show. Before we do go, as everyone knows, David Rhys-Jones is a normal commentator on our show. Oh, no, I don't want that. I wanted.
Come on, Joe. We're right at the end of the show. You can do it.
That one.
Okay.
Prada Willie Foundation. They've got a big fundraiser coming up in May, but Reese will be telling us more about it. But hey, guys, please give if you can. It's a very worthwhile cause, and David has explained a lot about it. So let's go on. Okay. Just in final summary, Vince, bit of I'm getting all over the place here because I've got. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share at Blue on Facebook. I'm going to change this at Blue Sunday and at the Jumper Punch, and we can be seen on the YouTube channel at the Jumper Punch. So, Vince, until next week, I don't know. Should we go out playing the song?
Yeah, why not? Let's play the song, everyone.
We didn't win. We didn't lose. So here it goes.
Go Blues.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.